I want to discuss the topic of defunding the police and why ultimately it is a wacky and misguided idea that will be counterproductive. But first, let me say this. Where there is police brutality, it must be addressed. Where there are needs for police reform, we need to look at those carefully. Where there are any inequities or injustices within the system, we need to confront them and fix them. But the way to address many of the problems that we are facing is not by defunding the police. I wrote an article with varied titles on different sites, but on my site, it's this: The Fable of the Belly and the Members and the Defunding of the Police. Okay, so Aesop's Fable, I remember reading this as a kid. The members of the body get upset with the stomach because they do all the work and the stomach just gets to sit around and do nothing. The stomach just gets to sit around and eat, and they're feeding the appetite of the stomach. So, the feet and the legs, they have to walk out in the forest and look for food and pray, and the arms and the hands, pull back the bow and arrow and shoot the prey, and then carry it back on the shoulders. And now the legs are weary, the shoulders weary, and then you cook the thing, and then you eat it, and the teeth have to chew, and the throat has to swallow. That's just to feed the stomach. The stomach just sits there and enjoys the food, and they think, this is crazy. We're doing all the work for the stomach. We're going to boycott the stomach. But after a few days, they'll start to get a little tired and weary, and they can't function properly without the stomach. Now, obviously, it's not meant to be an exact analogy, but it is that old principle of cutting off your nose to spite your face. That if you think, well, the police get to do this, police get to do that, and they're getting funded, and we're suffering because, but actually, when you defund them, everybody is going to suffer accordingly. Check out this headline here. Wall Street Journal, May 26th. The story says this: 1 year after the movement to defund law enforcement began to upend municipal budgets, many American cities are restoring money to their police departments or proposing to spend more. So in other words, you defund the police, violence increases, violent crime increases. More people are having their cars carjacked. More people are having their kids shot in gang war. More people are had their houses broken into. Violent crime surging, crime in general going up, homicides surging when you defund the police. The article continues and says this: many U.S. cities are led by Democrats who supported protesters' calls to defund the police, a term that activists have used in different ways, including to push for simply shrinking the size of police forces, but also shifting resources from law enforcement to social services. But city officials have found it difficult to keep police budgets down after seeing a rise in crime over the past year, with murder rates up by double digits in many cities. In the last 3 months of 2020, homicides rose 32.2% in cities with a population of at least 1 million, according to the Federal Bureau of Investigation's quarterly Uniform Crime Report. Law enforcement officials and criminologists say pandemic stress and a police pullback amid protests are likely contributors. And then this quote from Michael Nutter, who's the former mayor of Philadelphia and himself a Democrat, quote, "It's hard to have a serious conversation with folks about cutting a police department's budget when crime is up." So the theory is you spend the money in different ways and with social services and things like that. But criminals and others, especially violent criminals, are not listening to reason. And you can't wait a generation for things to work their through with improvements here and there. What they respond to is force. What they respond to is, okay, if I can pull this off, I'm going to pull this off. And if I can't, I probably won't try. It is a simple reality. It is a law of the street. And that's why the police force are there in force. Again, if there are abuses, they must be addressed. If there are other things that can be done in holistic ways to help in communities, of course. And whatever we can do to build up families, whatever we can do to increase opportunities for education and job, whatever we can do to help in crime-ridden areas, we need to look at it in the most holistic way, and obviously with gospel-based solutions as well. But defunding the police is a self-destructive idea. Look at some of these headlines. The Guardian, March 19th, referring to the city of Oakland. This U.S. city was working to cut its police budget in half. Then violent crime started to rise. What do you know? How about this one? CNN, May 25th. Defund the police encounters resistance as violent crime spikes. And then this one, June 22nd, Al Jazeera. U.S. crime rise draws fears of bloody summer, calls for more cops. So it's not surprising that 89 pastors in Ohio came together to call for prayer for policemen and issued a statement which says, quote, "The local law enforcement plays a valuable role in our society, with brave men and women keeping vigilant watch at all hours, risking their lives on behalf of the safety of others, often with their acts of heroism going unnoticed." Minneapolis, of course, the city where George Floyd was tragically killed, and where there have been so many protests and there has been so much talk of defunding the police. The problem is you continue to have rising crime in neighborhoods. And one city council member said that the residents of the community are asking, where's the police? In many of these cases, when you talk to the people on the street, like, we need the police here. Yes, there have been abuses, and yes, there have been issues, and we want those addressed, but we need the police here because for every one alleged victim of a cop, so for every case of a George Floyd being killed by a Derek Chauvin, for every case like that, you might have 10 or 20 or 30 where a life is being saved by the presence of police. So again, where there are abuses, where there are issues, let's address them. Let's continue to look for holistic solutions to help our communities, but let us get rid of this wacky idea of defunding the police. It is self-defeating. Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, click on one of the boxes on the screen, check out another one of our videos, and be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a single video. You know, we discovered that about 60% of you that are watching our videos aren't subscribers, so subscribe today. Doesn't cost you a dime. And if you want to support our work, Line of Fire, and all the things that we do, follow one of the links on the screen below.